Okay, what's up, everyone? We're back. Welcome to another episode of Squadcast73, the podcast by a bike company. I am Michael, one of the co-founders of Super 73. I do marketing here.
My name is Mac. I'm in customer relations.
Hi, I'm Ashley. I'm a senior project manager.
My name's Aaron. I am also a co-founder. Michael, before we begin, I just got to ask about the pants.
The pants. The pants are, I call them crazy pants. They're not officially called crazy pants. It's by EPTM. I love them. They're not a sponsor of the podcast because honestly, who would sponsor episode 2 of a podcast by a bike company? But I thought maybe if I throw the name out, maybe they'll send me a pair. I don't know.
Is this a thing now? Crazy Pant
Dude,
Friday?
Honestly, I'm trying to evolve as a person. A lot of people commented on the ring that I'm wearing. Yes, I'm wearing a ring. Yes, I did buy it at Nordstrom Rack. Yes, it was like $4.
Is it a mood ring?
No, and other people have asked that as well. It's not even a mood ring, so it's like, why? Answer, because, you know?
It's fun.
Well, I like it.
Because
It looks fast.
It's different.
I think Crazy Pants Friday could be a thing.
I like Crazy Pants Friday, and honestly, I'm just trying to make myself more noticeable.
Okay. You walk into a room and it's like, bam.
I know.
Without the pants, so.
I just don't want to, I'm terrified of becoming boring, I think. Maybe that's what it is deep down inside. I just
think
don't.
Maybe you're thinking, why not?
Yeah.
Instead of why.
Wow,
Why not?
Oh, wow.
We're 2 minutes in and we've gotten real deep.
I
here,
like that a
so.
lot. I really like that a lot more than like, I'm scared of being boring because that shows all my insecurities, and why not makes me seem like a fun.
Boring coming from the guy who hangs out with Will Smith all day.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
You sound like my mom. Thank you. Wow. Okay. We'll jump right into it. I think we can talk a little bit about our brand and how we've gotten to collaborate with so many really cool people. The phrase hangs out with Will Smith all day is a little bit of an exaggeration, but I like it.
It's like every other day.
So Will Smith called us one day. His trainer, Aaron, actually did, Aaron Ferguson, who's become a really good friend of the company. And he was like, hey, look, we're in Florida. Will loves your bikes. We're here till tomorrow night or 2 days from now. So we're here till, 2 days from now at night. Can you get a bike here? The team went into overdrive, and we were able to get myself, my brother, who, because nobody else was available because we're all so busy, and 2 bikes out to Miami, Florida in 24 hours. And it was like less than that. It was like 18 hours. It was crazy because shipping lithium ion is really tricky. So we had to overnight it on a special cargo plane. It was insanity. But I remember, the moment of assembling the bikes in our hotel room in Miami, thinking like, is Will even going to be here? Did we get scammed? Did we get conned? Like, we just off of a whim, like some dude called us and was like, hey, I need 2 bikes over here on the other side of the country by tomorrow. And now we're here. We spent too much money on the trip, and it was like one of those shot in the dark things. And we were a really young company at the time. So it was one of those things where it was like, this is necessary. If we're going to, keep growing and stay alive, we got to take a chance on this. And so, yeah, we made it to Miami. I wouldn't say without a hitch because there was a million hitches along the way. But we delivered the bikes. And I remember we were sitting in Will Smith's hotel room. He wasn't in there. So it was kind of weird. It was like this guy just brought us up to this hotel room. And we're just hoping that Will Smith arrives. And we're talking. We've got the bikes in there. Then suddenly the door just explodes open. Like, honestly, almost breaks off the hinges. And comes barreling in Will Smith. Already filming. He was doing his vlogs at the time. And he comes in and he wraps me up and picks me up like he's my uncle and I'm 7 years old, and I'm like, my arms are, sorry, microphone. My arms are locked at my side and he's got his arms around me and he twirls me. And this is my first ever encounter with Will Smith. The guy
That's like a big genie hug.
Dude, the guy that inspired Crazy Pants, honestly. Like the guy that I grew up watching on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yes.
iRobot was a big one for me too. It's a weird one that I call out, but that's a big one for me. Big sci-fi fan. And that was just a moment where I was like, we're actually doing something that's working. Whatever we're doing, it's catching on. And that was such a cool moment because here's this guy that was just making pizzas not too long ago. Being twirled in a hotel room by Will Smith, which can actually go a very different way if you think about it, being twirled in a hotel room by Will Smith. But it was just such a cool, awesome experience. And I mean, you guys have seen what he's done for this company. And it's like he's really become a cornerstone of like how we built our brand. And I think we all have stories like that, which is just wild. Mac, I mean, you being in customer relations.
Yeah, I'm going off your story. We do these things like on a whim. One time you came to me and you're like, hey, can you leave later tonight to go build bikes for the Carolina Panthers?
Oh my gosh.
And it was like, I'm at my desk hanging out, typing away at my email. And I'm like, let me check my schedule. 2 seconds later, yeah, let's go. And that night we're on our way to Long Beach Airport. And the next morning we arrive in North Carolina. And within like 2 hours, we're building like, 24 bikes, 20 bikes for the Carolina Panthers. We have all these black S1s just lined up in this locker room at the Panthers Stadium. And, just less than 24 hours ago, I was going about, my day like a normal everyday schedule. And it's so crazy. We do these crazy things where, we got to pick up and go and just do this thing for the company. And it's really exciting. It's really rewarding. It's a lot of work. I mean, catching a flight in less than, a few hours is a lot of work, and then not sleeping. And then it's actually a lot of work to put together all those bikes too, with not, usable tools.
Yeah, our fingers were bleeding by the end of it.
It was like, you guys like,
we didn't bring the proper like tool kit, we just brought a couple of wrenches and stuff. Right, exactly. So,
and it was it was like, no time, just go, let's go. And it wasn't even, the way you said that I asked you if you could go was such a funny way of saying, Mac, I need you in North Carolina tonight with me. Let's go. It was like a code red emergency panic, all hands on deck, like let's do this. And it was a really cool opportunity. They bought the bikes. Cam Newton bought all those bikes for his teammates. So we couldn't let him down. It wasn't like a marketing ploy or something. Like this had nothing to do with it. It was just part of the job. And there we are at 11 o'clock at night in South Carolina, North Carolina. One of the Carolinas. I don't even know. We were there so fast. So we literally get there, and like you said, 2 hours later, we're assembling bikes. And we flew through the night. We had a 4-hour like layover, didn't sleep a wink, flew overnight to do it, landed, built the bikes through the night, went back. We got to the hotel at like 1 a.m. after eating dinner, because we didn't eat dinner. We just went. It was like survival.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the whole thing is a little bit of a roller coaster. I mean, we're working, and then we're laughing, and then we're at each other's necks for a moment because we're getting angry at, the tools that we have. And it's fun. It's exciting. It's a lot of work. But, these are the things we do for our brand, for our company.
So that interaction actually goes back because you did another Carolina trip when you first met Cam, right? And then
I did.
He bought one bike first, and then he bought 20 something for his teammates.
All it takes is one.
Buy one, get 24. No, Cam hit us up and he was like, love your bikes. I mean, man, I don't even know where I went. Like that's how much, like I went somewhere for training camp. And it was maybe one of the Carolinas. I don't know. Yeah. They were doing training camp at a university. And I just showed up one of those times where it was like, there was no information. It was, here's an address. Can you bring a bike here? And I assembled it. And then suddenly I'm sitting in there with the finished bike and there's 20 Carolina Panthers surrounding me. And it was like, I'm 6 feet tall, but I am a tiny little human being compared to that team. And it was such a wild experience because I get to share with these people who, even a few years ago, I grew up playing football. I was a big fan. And a few years ago, I would have been watching them on TV. And now I'm like teaching them about my bike, which is just so crazy.
So exciting.
And then on the flip side of that, the reason why I was over there was because Aaron was here at the LA Rams training camp.
So that happened at the same week. Yeah. Todd Gurley had just signed his contract extension with the Rams. And we got it as a gift for him. Actually, it was a mutual friend that got it as a gift for him. So I was at training camp at the Rams. I think they were in Irvine, at UC Irvine. The same time Michael was in Carolina. So that's kind of how the whole thing started with football, I guess.
Yeah, and it's not a 9 to 5 here. It's like a 9 to 9 the next day.
Yeah. And those are just some extreme moments. Sometimes I get on the phone with, I talk to customers from every walk of life, and one of my favorites is Danny McNulty, and where's he from again?
He's such a big fan. He's from Boy Meets World.
Boy Meets World.
And he was also in Girl Meets World.
Yes.
He was Harley, the bully in Boy Meets World. Obviously,
and he's got a couple of our bikes now, and so he'll call me or email me and say, hey, I need a couple of inner tubes, or you know, my headlight went out. What can you do about it? And we chat on the phone like we're good friends. So that's really exciting to, like, you know, I've never met him, never experienced him in real life. So it's kind of fun to just have that little relationship over the phone. And, you know, we have all these different relationships. Some, you know, are more extreme, like building bikes for the Panthers. Some are more casual. It's exciting.
We got to meet him in person, like in New York. I'm sorry.
And I think that's where Ashley's going.
I'm
sorry about that.
It's cool. You can't see me because I'm looking this way.
Go for it.
No, I was going to say he actually came to our New York meetup.
Yes.
And that's what I was actually thinking too is, you know, everybody that we see as, like, you know, what we call celebrities, influencers, you know, they're basically regular people just like us. And then so for him to even go to the event, it was super exciting, but at the same time, it's just like, he's part of the super squad.
Yeah.
That's really all it is.
And that's what he wants to identify with. And that's what's so cool. And at that same meetup, Ashley, Aaron, and I went to New York to do a New York meetup a while back, which was so successful. And the community out there is unbelievably amazing. But down walks Tom Sachs. And I, at the time, had been working with Tom Sachs for quite a while on a project. When I first got introduced to him, I knew a little bit about him. I knew that he was an artist. I knew he was well known. I didn't really understand the magnitude of his reach. And so he comes walking down the street. I go, "Oh, everybody, look, this is Tom Sachs. We're working with Tom on a project. He's an artist." And everyone's like, "Yeah, we know who Tom Sachs is. He's a legend." And that was such an eye-opening moment where I was like, oh my, I had no idea that he was such a legend. And here we are just helping him create a project, helping him create a piece of art that, you know, I didn't think would necessarily be a huge thing. It ended up being a pretty huge unveiling, which was so awesome. But it's kind of like that where you mentioned, hey, I have conversations with these customers that need bike help, and they just happen to have huge TV shows, huge careers doing things in the public eye. You know, we say they're regular people. They are regular people. They just happen to have jobs that are a little bit more visible than anyone else. They're hardworking people. They just get people to watch them work. And that's what's kind of so cool.
I actually wanted to comment on just projects overall, or at least these big projects that we have. I feel like the ones that we talked about for right now are the people that reached out to us. There's a lot of projects where you guys just go for it. And it's like, it's uncalled for. And you just, you just think of an idea and you're like, you know what, let's just do it. Why not? For example, the Coachella one. That one was probably a big one. I don't want to say Coachella one. It's the Post Malone 24 karat gold bike. That one is probably a huge one where it wasn't planned. It was just like, you know what, let's go for it. And I kind of want to see, how did that work out for you? Because at the end of the day, it actually did work out.
Yeah. Well, first of all,
you didn't know.
I just want to say that a lot of people get upset that we give bikes away. And in the early years, you guys got to understand that we had no other choice. We didn't have money for a marketing budget or anything like that. But YouTube's free. So this was the only way we could get our brand out there. And it's kind of turned into something else.
And if you look at the numbers, and this is what I always tell people, and it really happens less and less now, because not only do we, use marketing bikes for high-end influencers, but we give a lot of bikes away to the community. We just had an event where we gave like 5 or 6 bikes away. So we really make sure it's even. But what a lot of people don't understand is, hey, if I want Will Smith to do a 30-second ad about our product, normally I'm paying him hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not like $500,000 for that kind of ad. If I can give Will Smith 2 bikes that cost $2,200 a piece, it's under $5,000, and he posts them and tags us, that's the same thing I'd be getting if I paid him $500,000 to do an ad. And now it's even more from the heart because he's not being paid. Same with Casey Neistat, same with Post Malone, Sway Lee, all these really cool creative people. It costs a lot of money to get products into their hands. What we've done is we've said, hey, we can't afford that. We're literally a tiny little company in Orange County. How can we navigate around that? And so that's kind of why, we have given bikes away in the past, and it's not something we do every day. We really have meetings to decide, hey, is this something we can afford to do? Is this something that's going to work for the brand? Does it coincide with what we're doing? And the Post Malone project, the way that came about was just so wild and crazy. Aaron, I'd like to hear your take on it before mine, and then we'll kind of compare.
Yeah, and I agree totally with what Michael said too. And also, it's, do they want the bike? So that's the other part of it. We're not trying to push something onto somebody that, you know, has no care in the world for it. But the flip side has happened where a lot of people have actually loved it, and we've become very good friends over, you know, the 3 years or so that we've been doing it. But the Post Malone one was really cool because that didn't even start with Post Malone. I think that one started with Jesse, I think, right? That project. But a lot of effort, like Mac was saying earlier, goes into these influencers, celebrity bikes, and most of the time it is daunting, but it's a lot of fun. And just to try to see, you know, how we can make something happen. And I think that's how that project started. Michael was like, we got to get a bike to Post Malone. We have no idea how to do it. And if you think like in the just by yourself, if you could do something that crazy, like get a bike to Post Malone at Coachella, like it almost seems impossible. But you got to have the thought, and you got to have like just the drive to try it. And that's what I think started the whole thing. So that's
and even like the conception of like that idea, like, oh, we got to get a bike into someone's hands, like it could be months later until that actually happens, because we think of the idea and then we're like, do we do some sort of, you know, color difference, color variation, like how can we make it a little bit special for them without like breaking the bank, you know? And so then there's getting in contact with other people, and it takes a while. It takes a little bit of, you know, cultivation. The idea needs to grow and needs to happen sort of naturally, you know. You don't want to push it too hard.
Well, and I think that's... Did you want to jump in?
No, I was just going to say, I was actually going to bring it back to the point we brought up from the very beginning. I don't think it's about the question of why we're doing something. It's like, why not? Like, let's just go for it. And that's exactly how we even got to the whole Post Malone thing, which is how I think Will Smith's trainer, that's how he saw the video.
Yeah.
And then it's like, it keeps leading on to all these different people. And it all started from the very beginning of even you guys even collaborating with Jesse. I actually don't even know how that started.
And I just remember that original gold one, we actually tried to make it for Bruno Mars in 2016.
Yeah.
And that's what...
I kind of want to go over all that. So, I mean, it's just crazy how connection leads to connection leads to connection. And Jesse came onto the company really early on Kickstarter days. And that story's out there. We're actually going to have him on one of these upcoming episodes. So we'll let him kind of tell that whole story. But the Post Malone project couldn't have been done without Jesse. Because at the time, we had the ideas, but we didn't have the connections. And Jesse was like, listen, guys, I don't necessarily have the connections, but I can actually get us in this next leg of the relay even further. So it started by, we found a plater here in Orange County who was able to plate metal in gold. And so John was like, why don't we do a Super 73 in gold? And then 24 Karat, Bruno Mars' song had just come out. We thought this is a really good fit. Maybe we do it for him. It kind of sat for a while. It didn't manifest, and things just don't always manifest. And I think that's where being fluid and flexible really comes into play, because we love Bruno Mars, but we didn't have a passion to really follow through on that project. And so the gold bike was sitting, and Post Malone suddenly came out of nowhere and he blew up. And so I was a huge fan, and I thought, like, well, this should go to Post Malone. There's nobody else it should go to. It's a 24 karat gold bike. And so it sat in our office for a little bit. I actually chained it up into my office because John loved to ride it. He would come in late at night and he'd go rip on the gold Super 73. So as a joke, I chained it up in my office, which it sat there for a while. So, you know, we thought, how do we get it to Post Malone? We were talking to Jesse, and Jesse was like, I bet I could do it. Let's go to Coachella. I can get us into any party, any access. If we can just do that, it's going to get us one step closer. So we got that gold Super 73, loaded up in the vans. Aaron, you and I both drove out there. You took the white panel van. We had like a really beat up white panel van that we used for the speeder bikes to get those across the country. We still have it.
The Econoline.
Yes.
And you loaded it up with the bikes. And I think... What did I?
You went first because you had to go to the Levi's party, and then I met you later with the bikes.
That's how we got him there, and so we started filming the video, and buzz just started picking up, and then suddenly Snoop Dogg hears about the bike, and Snoop Dogg wants to see the bike, and now he's in the video, and he's saying, well, why didn't you get me a bike? You need to get me a bike, which now we've actually kind of done that as well. We're about to deliver it, but it just started picking up steam, and so by the end of it, Post Malone's camp had heard. And they were like, look, we're doing a music video out in Coachella Valley. If you want to bring it, there's like a 1% chance you're going to be able to get it to him, but it's worth a shot. And that was just like one of his videographers from his crew. So we went, And Jesse and I sat in there about 15 feet away from Post Malone for 6 hours. And Aaron, you were sitting right outside the gate because they wouldn't even they almost didn't let us in. It was like we had to kind of sneak in there. Security was really tight. They hassled us at first, and then somebody was like, no, they're with us. Come in here. They said only 2 of you. So Jesse and I are just sitting there because at this point it had been like a mission. And Aaron was on the other side with more bikes as like backup. And then Post Malone eventually finally sees the bike, and he just loses his mind, loves it, falls in love with it. Off that, he was doing the music video with Sway Lee. Sway Lee was like, you guys got to get me a pink one. I love these bikes. If you follow us on social media, you see that Sway Lee has this pink Super 73 now.
Matching his helmet.
Honestly, yeah, matching his Ruroc helmet. So you see it's this weird evolution of if you're fluid, if you're willing, if you're open to whatever happens, if you're okay to fly to North Carolina at 11 o'clock at night, not to land for 12 hours, these good things will keep manifesting. And if you put in the work and you put in the effort, they always say, it's like 90% hard work, 10% luck. That's honestly what it is, because you put in the work, then the opportunities will manifest because you've created that path to allow those things to happen.
I like that.
Thank you.
It takes a lot of cultivation, yeah. Like you said, it evolves. It takes time. From that point of Post Malone and Sway Lee, now Sway Lee has his bike. That was a long time.
It was like a year.
Yeah.
We're coming up on a year.
Just a little side note, too. Michael left out the part where they were filming at Golden Hour, and they were almost about to get to the apex of the scene, and they couldn't film because Post Malone was just riding around on the bike outside for like an hour, and like we kind of took the last hour of his good daylight. And
not only that, but if you look up they were filming a music video for Spoil My Night. If you look that up on YouTube, it does not exist. And it makes me wonder, like, well, shoot, when we showed up with the bikes, all they wanted to do was ride. They rode for about an hour. They even put the bikes in the music video, but then the music video never came out. Now, I don't know exactly why that happened. I saw them filming it an entire day. It looked like it was going to be a good music video, but I do remember the director, Cole Bennett. Again, I've apologized publicly to Cole Bennett multiple times. I'd like to do it again. If you want a bike, I owe you a bike. I am so sorry for derailing your shoot. But it's things like that where it's like you just seize the opportunity when you get it. And he wouldn't get off the bike. And so that was kind of the story of how that all manifested. And again, man, I feel so, every time I see a Cole Bennett music video, I feel so guilty because like, I really just came out of nowhere and derailed his like 8-hour shoot. But it's take the opportunity when you can get it. And that's kind of what happened. And now, because of that, we're athletes and musicians. And Aaron, you want to talk about athletes, you got a really cool opportunity with one of your favorite basketball players, which would you want to jump into that?
Yeah, sure. So if you guys have followed our Instagram feed, we've got a photo with Klay Thompson. So I grew up in the Bay Area, huge Warriors fan, so it was a dream come true for me. That was really cool. But it actually started with his brother, Trace, who plays baseball. And at the time, he was an outfielder for the Dodgers. And he had bought, I think, a Rose Ave.
Yeah, Rose Ave.
Yeah, so he bought a Rose Ave, and he actually came into our old shop. And so he comes to pick up his bike. He goes, hey, my name's Thompson, last name Thompson. And I'm looking through the list, like, because we have the list for the pickups. And I'm like, okay, Thompson, first name. He goes, Trace. I go, Trace? That sounds familiar. And then so I look up, and I'm like, I know this guy. No. And then he looks at me, he goes, yeah. And I was like, no. And he goes, yeah. Anyway, long story short, he bought a bike, and he absolutely loved it. But then a month later, he got traded to Chicago, I think. So his bike stayed in California. And what ended up happening was his dad, Michael Thompson, the legendary Michael Thompson from Showtime Lakers, just started riding it. I think they're in South County somewhere. But he loved it so much that he has a radio show, and he does the color commentary for the Lakers games.
He's an icon.
Yeah.
Yes, go Lakers. just gotta throw that out there.
Yeah, so rivalry over here.
So he wrote it so much, and I think Trace was like, "Man, I got to get something for my family." So this is the funny part of the story. Trace ordered another bike, and we thought it was going to be for his brother Klay, who had just won the championship. So we thought it was like a championship gift or whatever. So we make this custom Warriors bike, like an extended seat, Klay 6'7". So a lot of work goes into it, and Michael and I drive down to his house when at the time to deliver the bike. And so we pull up, and Trace's brothers are there. Trace isn't there, and Mrs. Thompson, his mother's there too, and they're just hanging on outside, and we don't really know what we're doing necessarily. We're just dropping off the bike, and the next thing you know, I think a car just zooms by and goes, "Dude, that's flipping dope," and we're like, "Who's that?" That was Clay. Yeah. So he comes in, and they look at the bike, and they're like, "Oh, this is amazing." They jump right on it, and immediately we give him the helmet so that he's he's in the off season, but still. So he's riding it around. We're having a good time, and then Mrs. Thompson says, "Yeah, Michael's going to be so amazed when he gets this." And then Michael Thompson. So Michael Cannavo and I look at each other like, "Oh shoot, did Trace mean to buy this for his dad and not his brother?" And long story short, his whole family thought that the Michael Thompson was going to get the bike. So Michael Thompson, if you are listening, we still have your bike coming on your way. But that was a funny thing. And then at the end of it, actually we framed it too. Mrs. Thompson gave us $100 as a tip, and we didn't know what to do with it.
Yes, it sits in our office.
So we framed it. I think this is the first $100 bill that we've ever gotten. But that Thompson family is just so sweet, so amazing. They also gave us bobbleheads.
I know, they loaded us up with swag. It was amazing.
If you can see this.
And that's like, and they were so grateful. They're so cool. And that was a moment where it was like the entire family was just so stoked on what we were doing. And it's people who understand our brand and they understand what we're doing. Their support really helps to gather new Super Squad members. And that's kind of why we do this. They say, why are you giving free bikes to people who already have bikes? In this case,
that one Trace bought it. Yeah,
exactly.
He bought both of them.
Exactly. But, with the Post Malone thing, Will Smith, it's because it grows our community. Because people who would have never seen these bikes otherwise now get to see the bikes. And now our community is growing. Some of our most passionate Super Squad members have come because they saw a football player get it, or a rapper get it, or a movie star get it. And we're kind of growing in that way. A good example is just the other day, Ryan Reynolds shared our post on Instagram. And that was huge because it was just a couple weeks ago, I busted into the design office, bypassed all of the rules of, hey, submit this, get it for approval. I said, guys, we need to make a Pokemon bike. Literally, there was no reason why we should be making a Pokemon bike. We don't have the license to that. We're not technically even allowed to do that. But it was.
But it came out so good. If you guys haven't seen it,
it came out great. It's on our Instagram. It got a lot of love from you guys, so thank you so much for loving it. But it was one of those moments where it was like no connections, no reason to do it, not why, but why not. I love that. That was so good, Ashley. I'm getting that tattooed tomorrow. But it worked. It shows that it worked, and because we're all big fans of Ryan. Like, who doesn't love Ryan Reynolds? And that's something where ex pizza maker. Ex-waiter, ex-cubicle office person.
Hated it.
And then Aaron, who's literally done everything under the sun, have come together and said, hey, we're fans of people. How can we show that we're fans of them and also help the brand, help the company, help the community? And Ryan has just been so pleasant, obviously. Like, of course he is, but it's been so exciting to get to experience that firsthand. He's messaged us and said, thank you so much for doing this. He's so excited to ride it. That video we did, he loved the video that we made for him afterwards, which is on our Instagram as well, where we were just dropping a bunch of his, smaller movies or older movies. He said his family got such a kick out of that. So it's things like that where it's like, if anybody was in our position, I think what you want to do is create things for people that you're passionate about, that you admire. Good example, Rooster Teeth. We didn't have an appointment with Rooster Teeth. We didn't have any reason to be meeting with Rooster Teeth. They're a big production company in the game world, in the anime world. I've been following them for about 9 years. And it was a moment where I said, look, I don't have any reason to do this, but I think they're really going to appreciate it if we can bring them some bikes for their campus. They work in an old airport, in the old Austin airport. So the hangars are their production studios, which is so cool.
Awesome.
And we're just, again, fans of what they do. So let's connect with them. Let's get over there. I showed up, got through the gates with my bikes, met up with, a contact that I had kind of built in there. And as I'm building the bikes, one of the founders of the company walks up and he goes, Michael, what are you doing here? And I'm like, what do you mean? How do you know me? And he turns his phone around and it's our newsletter. He's literally
subscribed to the newsletter?
The office, and he shows me and it was like one of those, you couldn't have timed it better.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm a huge fan of you guys. And I was like, I'm a huge fan of you. What are you talking about? Like, I've been watching you since like I was a kid in high school.
That's awesome.
And he was like, are you bringing us these bikes? And I said, yeah. And he goes, why? And I said, because I like you. Well, it was like, we're big fans of what you guys are doing. So we wanted to say thank you. And so as a result, we're now doing some cool stuff with them. And,
it's so exciting.
That just happens when you're passionate about what you're doing and you find other people who are also doing it. And it's just so symbiotic because, we talk about influencers and celebrities, but they are, like we say, just normal people who are working jobs that other people just happen to watch. It's like, Mac, imagine you serving and your little witty banter while you were serving steaks at a steakhouse. Imagine if you had an audience there laughing, with canned laughs. Like, that's basically what it is. It's just, they're doing the same job. Sometimes they're not fun or pleasant jobs, and they just got to do them and grind. They get paid a little bit more because they're in the public eye, but it's a grind. So when they see somebody appreciate what they're doing, like a bike company, it really amps them up and it really makes them excited.
And it's all about the community, like they are these public figures, these influencers, celebrities, whatever you want to call them, but they're just a part of the Super Squad. And, we have so many customers who they'll send us emails, they'll go above and beyond to let us know that they really appreciate the work that we do. It's not always perfect, but we do our best to, do what we can. And if anyone out there is listening, we've got a lot of gear to send out. So send us your address, send us an email. We'll get some gear out to you, some stickers, a shirt. We've got plenty of shirts right now. We really just want to build. I can't wait. No,
you don't even know what you just signed up for.
Wait. My team has grown in the past couple weeks, and so where before it was just me handling almost all of the customer service. There's 4 of us now, and that feels really good. To be able to give that sort of access and support to our community. And furthermore, we're doing more group rides and little community rides. I mean, just last weekend, you guys were out in Venice or Hollywood. It's a small group ride, but it's so exciting to see this Super Squad gang evolve and go a little further and be, more in tune with each other from across, the nation to here locally in Southern California. I mean, when we first did our first event, shortly after, there were our community in France, they brought together their own event to do a Super 73
there was like 9 or
ride.
10 riders there, and
it was awesome. There's a video out there
amazing.
too, and where the guy comes and he's not sure if anyone's going to show up, and then lo and behold, there they are riding through the forest. And it's so exciting to watch that happen and watch the community grow.
I'm really glad you brought that up too, because we get to do a lot of remarkable things and meet a lot of remarkable people, but those types of interactions are my favorite. Like when we do our meetups, when we do
it's real, it's genuine.
When we do the rides, I don't want to think about anything but just hanging out with my friends at that in those moments. And that's what the Super Squad really has become. It's been like a new group of friends that we didn't even know we had. And it's so cool because it's everywhere.
And it's fun to just ride with your friends. I mean, it's fun to ride the bike by itself. You get on and go, and that in itself brings joy, to me at least. And I don't think we do it enough here in the office. We're so busy these days. We used to, close the door and go for a quick ride and enjoy each other and stuff. But to be with other Super Squad members and ride around and just enjoy the sun, feel the wind on your skin, it's such a good time. And we encourage more of that, get out, find your local Super Squad members, go and ride.
Well, and what's so cool is you guys obviously know, but a lot of you don't know. I am from the costume cosplay world a little bit. I make armor in my free time, and there's this community that's around it where I may not meet these people in real life, or I may only see them once a year, but because of Instagram, that community is alive. And so if I see somebody at a convention that I follow on Instagram, you're automatically friends. And that's exactly the same thing we're seeing here. And even to the point where we had this meetup and we recognized people that were in the parking lot just from Instagram. Be like, oh my gosh, I follow you on Instagram. I love your Super 73 mods. This is so cool. Tell me about your bike. It's this icebreaker. It's a perfect icebreaker to say, we don't know anything about each other except that we both have Super 73s, and that makes us friends.
It's a great connection.
That's the coolest thing in the world. And Mac, talking about the community, and now you're able to really service the community in a better way. I see you so much happier these days, which has been really pleasant.
Thanks.
Not only for me, but to know that you're feeling equipped and you can really treat this community the way you want to treat them. Yeah. And a lot of what we do is, replacement parts or small upgrades. And we really try to take care of the community as much as we can, even in those small moments where it's like, oh, you need new bump stops, those little rubber things that snap off. Done, in the mail. There's also stickers and a hat coming with it.
Yes, 100%.
That's why I think this community is so cool, is because they're so grateful for those little things. You know, you send them a hat. If I had filed an issue with Apple when I got my phone and they had sent me like, here's your fixed phone, also here's a hat, I would have been a fan for life. And obviously,
or even like another charger, because everyone loses their charger.
Sure,
I just lost a charger, and it's like, if I get a free charger, or, you know,
you're a fan for life.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And so I think that's
Here's
where
a sticker. Put it on your water bottle.
These influencers have allowed us to be able to do that. And that's what's so cool, because it grows this community, because the influencers have people who trust what they say. They trust their influencers. They influence people to do certain things. And so, you know, to have Jesse Wellen say, guys, these bikes, they're the real deal. To have Casey Neistat say, these bikes are the real deal. That creates a very strong community in that. And that's something that now they're like, oh, well, Casey, I trust Casey. He's never steered me wrong in the past. So I'm going to grab one of these bikes. And it works. And they love it. And suddenly they're now a fan of us and a fan with us. And that's how you grow a community.
Our community is stronger than ever right now.
It's rad.
And that's one of my, you know, most rewarding points of, you know, my position here, is just watching our community grow. And it takes a team. You know, it's not just myself and the customer service team. It's all of us. It's every point that our community sees. You know, we are continuously trying to provide more, and it takes time. It really does. There's more, you know, bigger things to worry about as far as like, you know, getting actual bikes out and shipped to customers. But it's exciting.
Well, I think it's like a double-edged sword. It's growing so fast.
It is.
And so big that, we can't support it fast enough. And that's why, like, we're, you know...
100%.
Sometimes we forget less than 3 years ago that we didn't have anything. So for the community to not only, you know, support us, but understand that we're all growing together, that's like, it's just crazy to think about. Because we feel it. Like, sometimes we're stuck in here in this building, but when we feel the support of everybody else, it really helps us do our job.
It makes those late nights easier to do.
I think part of it is like, it actually starts top down though. So it's because the core here feels so like family, knit tied. I don't even know what I'm trying to say.
We are a family.
It really is like a family type of culture. And like, even when people come in, the very first encounter that they get, it's like, hey, how's it going? Like,
Can I get you some water?
Right,
have a seat on the couch.
Exactly.
Like, let's hang out.
And then, I mean, even when I'm in the back running a lot.
Running business.
But, yeah, but I mean, so I mean, if you guys come in, that's fine. You'll probably see me for 2 seconds. I'm like, hey, how's it going? Bye. But everybody in the front, you know, they greet these people. And then if you're new, whether you're new or not, it ends up being like an hour-long conversation. Just talking about not just bikes, but like life, and having that connection, having that community feeling. And that's where I feel like, honestly, I feel so grateful to be here. And I feel like I say that all the time. I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry.
No, but just this week.
We're one sentence away from getting you to tear up.
It's cool because the support is, for instance, like Danny, right? Like when we met him in New York, he didn't just show up. He brought us coffee in the morning.
Yeah.
Like, and that was crazy because like we had a pretty long night leading up to it. So just like everybody's helping each other. Yeah. It's not just like we're hanging out and, you know, but everybody's actively like helping each other, and we're all leveling up together.
He helped us with the event too.
Yeah.
Like he helped us with organization and getting people moving. And then, I mean, you talk about the community and coming in. I have a really good example. Taylor, who's running the podcast right now, kept asking. Throw your stuff up. I love that you can do that. That's my favorite thing.
That's exciting.
Just come in every
That's
once
why
in a
I'm
while.
going to find a reason to point you out every podcast. But you just wanted a bike. You were a buddy that I had met through the Star Wars world. We weren't like super close. We didn't hang out too much. But you wanted a bike so bad, and you'd be like, hey, can I come ride a bike? And I'd be like, yeah, sure, you can come ride and do a video, whatever. You did it so often that it was just easier to hire you. That's literally how Taylor got hired.
I still don't have a bike.
No, he doesn't.
Oh my
None of us have a bike.
He was like, can I just do some videos for you and then trade off at bike? And I said, can I just hire you? And then the money you make, you can just buy a bike. And he was like, sure, I guess. This is somebody who had been freelance for years. So having a 9-to-5 wasn't even on his radar. And we were able to say like, well, just come be a part of the crew officially, you know, because you hang around here so often, you might as well get paid to do it. So now we have Taylor, who's able to do this production stuff, who can get us to the next level. That's a part of the community that became a part of the team. That's crazy. Yeah. Andrew from K1, same thing.
Taylor's been killing it, by the way.
Everybody says that every week. Your videos are so much better. I'm like, all right, guys, they're not that much better. I used to do the videos. It's really good to see it. It's really good to see that our content, you know, and X is creating so much thing. Another thing, X was just a community guy who loved the bikes. Now he does content for us every single week. It's another thing where we take these amazing tools we have in the community and we say, well, can you help us get to the next level? It's such a collaboration.
It's great involvement. It definitely is.
This brand is so fluid. It's just like it goes wherever it needs to go.
Tuesday. Okay. This past Tuesday.
What did we do on Tuesday?
There's a fly. It's super annoying. LA River. Hanging out with him. I mean, you know, it was planned for him to come down and do a little mural. As you all know, we just are settling into this new office. And if any of you, everyone's moved before, it takes a long time, especially running a business, you know.
Moving a company.
Oh, that was crazy.
Exhausting.
We're still tired. I'm so tired.
I know
we're still moving.
Okay. We're still moving. But it's exciting to see fun things happen. So we had LA River come in and draw a mural on one of our walls. And it's such a statement piece. It's so exciting. It's so inviting to the space. And he came in. We finished off the workday just a little bit early, ordered food. We hung out. We, you know, danced around, rode around. It was super exciting to just like involve. Yeah, it was a long day. And although we weren't, you know, necessarily working, it was just, you know, involving that community member. He helped us out. You know, he owns a couple of our bikes. I changed out the tires for him while he drew the mural. We built another bike for him. Yeah. He purchased another bike and we got to build that for him. You know, and we try to offer builds as much as possible to our customers. But this, you know, particular instance was so fun.
If you guys come in and paint us a mural, we'll build your bike. So there you go. And something unbelievably massive is coming from the Los Angeles River
so
Super 73.
He's such an awesome
We can't talk
member.
about it in depth yet, but this is huge. Like what we're starting to do is so exciting. And I think the Los Angeles River is the perfect fit for unveiling this new thing that we're going to be doing. That's coming very soon. So stay tuned. I hate teasing stuff this way, but be so excited.
Yeah. It's so rewarding to build a bike for someone. And, you know, if we could take the time and build a bike for everyone and give them the rundown and present it to them, it's such a good feeling to do that for someone because you make sure that everything's done the right way, you know, and then you give them this thing and they get on and they ride off with a smile into the sunset. It's so exciting.
Making joy.
Literally
we are making joy.
Yes.
Money can buy happiness. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I was having a long talk with my girlfriend the other day about she doesn't think money can buy happiness. And I say, I see it every day. I literally see people who are bummed out about work or bummed out about not being able to travel or adventure. We are literally providing adventure to people. And that's been so rewarding for all of us to see that, especially on the hard days when all you got to do is look outside and see somebody going for a test ride. Then you're like, oh, wait, okay, this is all worth it. This is all worth it. And I think that's what we want to continue to grow as we grow is how do we bring that to a bigger scale? How do we provide more people with joy? How is it more accessible? You know, we did payment plans. That's insane.
That was huge.
So many people have jumped on that.
Huge.
You can get a Z for like $125 and then just pay monthly and you're riding day one.
Right.
You don't have to pay it off before you have it. It's like a car payment. And that's so crazy that we can finally do that.
It's accessibility. I mean, we've given someone, you know, accessibility to ride around, to commute. And people use our bikes as daily commuters.
Right. A lot of people replace their cars with it.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't have a crazy 30-mile commute, the Super 73 is perfect for you. I mean, you take it in, charge the battery, and ride home at the end of the day.
I think I think this is a really good place to kind of close it out. But does anybody have anything that they wanted to throw in before we close out? Just, you know, whether it's community or influencers or things like that. Any?
I do. If you bring your dog, we will offer you LaCroix.
Yeah,
and stickers.
We'll
hook it
maybe
up.
even a T-shirt.
Oh, yeah, we love dogs.
Absolutely.
We love dogs.
We love dogs. Dogs makes us smile. Dogs.
I don't know
bring us
why
joy.
I had dogs on my mind.
No, I appreciate that. I want to fit dogs into every podcast.
They're part of the Super Squatters too. I mean,
they really are.
Everyone from Robert Pattinson, Danny McNulty, the Panthers, to our, you know, customers across the nation.
They all have dogs.
They're all equally Super Squad members, and and that, you know, it feels good to know that the community is thriving and stronger than ever.
Aaron, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, I really enjoy the adventure in all senses of the word. We had a take earlier, and this is my first podcast, so I was super nervous. I'm still super nervous.
You're killing it.
But the fact is, like, just being, you know, with you guys pushes me to do things that I'm uncomfortable with, which is great. I love it. So that's, you know, that in every sense of the word, adventure.
Yeah,
like,
and that's been so exciting for me too. I come from a little bit of a background of being on camera, so I get less concerned about it. It's obviously I have my insecurities and things, but you know, Aaron, like just from day one, where if I'd pull out the camera, you would dart. You're gone.
Oh, I would. It was awful.
And look, and now I was able to
full on sprint away.
You would, and I was able to pin you down for a podcast, and that's cool. And I think that's because you see the value in sharing your stories. And I think that's where I've always wanted to do that. Share our stories, because we are normal people, ex-sign twirler, ex-pizza maker, ex-server, you know, ex-warehouse worker, whatever it is. We started from the bottom.
And now
we're here.
We're a little bit further up.
We're a little bit further up. And the goal is just to keep moving forward, keep progressing, keep evolving, which is why Crazy Pants are a thing now. Keep changing, keep innovating, keep doing cool stuff. And that's what our community does on a daily basis. I'm looking at people modding out their bikes in ways that I wouldn't even be able to. And I think that's what's so cool about this community. So we just want to say a big thank you to our community.
Yes, thank you.
We love our community. Put that on camera too, so that they can see everybody. I love
that
it.
one's
Thank
not
you,
camera.
Taylor.
That one's camera.
That one's camera too. Honestly, thank you all to you guys. You make this Super Squad what it is. And thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Squadcast73, the podcast about a bike company. Thank you guys. Nailed it.
Woo! Oh,